Hey warriors, welcome back to the channel. You are not failing because you are weak. You are failing because you hesitate, because every time you decide to rise, your mind whispers, what if I'm not good enough? What if I fail? What will they think? These questions have stolen more dreams than fear itself, but today I will take those doubts by the throat, expose them, and teach you the Machiavellian method to destroy them forever. Listen closely, because what I'm about to tell you is the first truth every powerful mind must understand before it ever creates, commands, or conquers. Self-doubt. The very thing you think is your personal flaw, your private insecurity, your silent suffering, is not yours. It does not belong to you. It was never born inside you. It was placed inside you long before you had the ability to question it, resist it, or reject it. The world does not fear your innocence, it fears your potential. And the easiest way to destroy a person with great potential is not by attacking them directly, but by convincing them that they should attack themselves. So the world gifts you an enemy disguised as a thought, a whisper, a hesitation, a question that steals years of your life. Are you sure you're good enough? That whisper is not self-reflection, it is sabotage. You have to understand the nature of power to understand why. Weak men are easy to control. They need approval, validation, permission. They wait, they hesitate, they give up. But a strong man, a man aware of his capabilities, is dangerous. Dangerous to a society built on obedience. Dangerous to a system designed to keep people predictable. Dangerous to anyone who benefits from your silence, your fear, your smallness. And so, from the moment you entered this world, you were taught to doubt yourself. Not overtly, not openly. The world is far more strategic than that. It begins with subtle conditioning. The first time you were told no. The first time someone said, don't do that. The first time you were scolded for trying, for exploring, for expressing something that felt natural to you. Slowly, piece by piece, society carved away your instinct for power and replaced it with a dependence on permission. You learned to ask before acting. You learned to seek approval before moving. You learned that mistakes are unacceptable, that failure is embarrassing, that ambition is arrogance, that greatness is for other people. And this conditioning doesn't end with childhood. It evolves. Teachers critique, friends judge, parents question, strangers compare. The world does not shape you into who you are. It shapes you into who it wants you to be, someone safe, someone normal, someone silent. Self-doubt is the leash around your mind. It is the prison you carry wherever you go, the invisible chain that requires no guard. Because when a person doubts themselves, no external force is needed to limit them. They voluntarily lower their aim. They shrink their opinions. They soften their voice. They negotiate against their own potential. And the world watches, satisfied. But here is the darkest part. Most people never realize that this doubt is external. They believe it is internal. They believe it is a part of their personality. They believe it is who they are. And that is the perfect trap. Because when you believe the enemy is you, you stop fighting. Imagine a ruler who suspects every advisor, every soldier, every citizen, but never suspects the one truly plotting his fall. That ruler eventually loses his throne without ever understanding how. That is you. You suspect your skills, your ideas, your plans, but you never suspect the origin of your doubt. Let me strip away the illusion. Every time you hesitate, every time you second guess, every time you tell yourself I can't, you are repeating the voices of others, voices you absorbed long ago without recognizing their power over you. This is not introspection. This is indoctrination. Now, consider why great leaders throughout history were feared even before they gained real power. It was not their actions, it was their mindset. A man who does not doubt himself becomes unpredictable. A man who becomes unpredictable becomes uncontrollable. And the world cannot afford millions of uncontrollable men. It cannot afford millions of people who think for themselves. It cannot afford millions who rise beyond the system designed to cage them. So before you ever had dreams, you were given doubt. Before you ever had ambition, you were given fear. Before you ever had goals, you were given rules. This was not coincidence, it was strategy. A society maintains order by keeping individuals uncertain. A family maintains control by keeping children obedient. A workplace maintains hierarchy by keeping workers replaceable. Doubt is the mechanism that ensures you accept your position instead of challenging it. Self-doubt is not your weakness, it is their weapon. And what makes this weapon so effective is that it feels like your own voice. It imitates your thinking, it mimics your reasoning, it hides behind logic. It convinces you that hesitation is caution, that fear is wisdom, that playing small is maturity. But none of this is true. Doubt does not protect you. Doubt limits you. Doubt whispers lies wrapped in the tone of your own mind. Lies that say you should wait. Lies that say you are unprepared. Lies that say you are unworthy of the life you desire. Yet despite all of this, there is a moment, a rare, powerful moment, when a person becomes aware that these thoughts were never their own, and once that awareness is born, the weapon no longer cuts as deep, because the moment you question the voice of doubt, it loses the authority it once held. The moment you see the chains, they begin to weaken. The moment you recognize the deception begins to unravel. There is a throne inside every human mind, a seat of command, a place where decisions are issued, doubts are silenced, and direction is given. Most people never sit on that throne. They wander through life obeying the loudest voice inside them, never realizing that voice was never meant to rule, it was meant to be ruled. The greatest misconception of modern men is believing that thoughts appear randomly, that emotions arrive without invitation, that fear is a natural warning, and doubt is a logical response. No, the inner voice is not a guide, it is a tool. And like any tool, it either serves you or enslaves you. A man becomes powerful not when he silences all fear, but when he commands it. When he chooses which thought deserves attention and which thought deserves execution. When he decides what becomes action and what is discarded as noise. This ability, the ability to command the inner voice, is the difference between the ruler of life and the victim of life. Understand this clearly. The inner voice is not a wise old mentor. It is not your friend. It is not your protector. It is a recorder of everything you've ever heard, feared, absorbed, or believed. It repeats the words of those who doubted you. It echoes the warnings of those who lived small lives. It amplifies the insecurities society has engraved into you since childhood. And if left unchallenged, it becomes your tyrant. Most people live under the rule of that tyrant. They obey without question. They wake up in the morning, and the first command they hear is stay in bed. The second, you're tired. The third, there's no point, you'll fail. And they listen, believing these thoughts come from them, believing these orders are truth. Believing this voice is their identity. But the truth is far simpler. They have never learned to give orders, only to receive them. Machiavelli understood this psychology long before modern science ever tried to explain it. He observed rulers, generals, leaders, and simple men. And he discovered that the people who shaped the world were not those with the strongest armies or the largest kingdoms, but those who had mastery over themselves. Before they ruled nations, they ruled inner chaos. Before they commanded others, they commanded their own minds. Before they became feared by the world, they became feared by their inner voice, because they no longer allowed it to dictate their fate. Imagine two men. The first wakes up and hears his inner voice whisper doubt, fear, excuses. He believes it, he obeys it, he follows it, and his life becomes the natural extension of those whispers. Small, hesitant, uncertain, predictable, a life guided by an inner dictator he never challenged. The second man wakes up, hears the same doubts, the same fears, the same excuses, but he stops them. He does not take instructions from a voice that has no authority. He questions it, he confronts it, he decides what he wants, and forces the inner voice to follow, not lead. His life becomes an expression of his will, not his weakness. That is the man the world fears. That is the man destiny answers to. That is the man who rises. The inner voice is not meant to be obeyed. It is meant to be conquered. It is meant to be trained like a wild beast, redirected like a river, shaped like iron under fire. And the more you practice this command, the quieter the voice becomes. Not silent, never silent, but obedient. The reason most people never achieve power is because their mind is a democracy. Every fear gets a vote. Every insecurity gets a voice. Every doubt gets a say in what happens next. And democracy inside the mind creates tyranny outside the life. A powerful man does not run a democracy. His mind is a monarchy, and he wears the crown. But to wear that crown, you must first face the truth you've been avoiding. Your inner voice has ruled you for years, and it has done a poor job. It has talked you out of opportunities. It has convinced you to play small. It has sabotaged relationships, goals, ambitions. It has turned small obstacles into massive fears. It has destroyed more potential than any enemy ever could. And yet, you never questioned it. You never asked, who put you in charge? Because you assumed the voice was you. You assumed its commands were truth. But they were only habit, repetition, conditioning. The moment you understand that you are not the voice, you are the one who hears the voice, everything changes. Because if you are the listener, not the speaker, then you have the power to override it, replace it, command it. When the inner voice says you can't, you respond with do it anyway. When it says you're not ready, you answer I will prepare through action. When it says what if you fail, you answer then I will rise again. When it says stop, you say continue. This is the mindset of rulers. This is the architecture of personal power. This is how men transform from uncertain to unstoppable, not by eliminating fear, but by refusing to be ruled by it, not by waiting for courage, but by summoning it, not by hoping the voice will change, but by forcing it to bend to their will. The world does not belong to the strongest, nor to the smartest. It belongs to those who command their inner voice. There comes a moment in every person's life when they must face a truth so sharp, so uncomfortable, that most will avoid it for as long as they possibly can. A truth that separates those who rise from those who decay. A truth that does not comfort, does not soothe, does not protect your ego. A truth that cuts through excuses like a blade through silk. And the truth is this: your life does not respond to your feelings, it responds to your discipline. Every time you choose comfort over effort, every time you obey your emotions instead of your obligations, every time you decide to delay what demands action, you sign a silent agreement with mediocrity. And then you call it fate, you call it bad luck, you call it not my time. But deep down, you know the truth. It was never fate. It was never luck. It was you choosing your feelings over your future. Feelings are unstable rulers. One moment they motivate you, the next moment they betray you. They push you to begin but abandon you before you finish. They whisper enthusiasm in the morning and excuses at night. They are impulsive, unreliable, childish. And yet most people allow these fragile impulses to govern their entire existence. A man ruled by feelings lives as a servant. A man ruled by discipline lives as a sovereign. Machiavelli understood this with ruthless clarity. He wrote that a ruler must learn to act against the softness of his nature when it is required. That virtue is meaningless without the steel of discipline behind it. And this applies not only to kingdoms but to the personal empire of your life. You cannot build anything strong on the foundation of emotion. Feelings shift like sand. Discipline is stone. Think for a moment about the times you have felt powerful, determined, ready to conquer your goals. Those moments were easy. They required nothing from you except enthusiasm. But what happened the next day? What happened when the energy faded? What happened when challenges appeared, when uncertainty emerged, when fatigue entered your bones? Your feelings retreated, and with them your will. This is why self-doubt survives. It thrives in the absence of discipline. It grows in the gap between what you planned and what you actually did. It expands in the quiet moments when you know you should act, but choose comfort instead. Doubt does not need strength to defeat you. It only needs your hesitation. You must understand something crucial. Discipline is not punishment. Discipline is liberation. It frees you from the dictatorship of your emotions, from the chaos of inconsistency, from the regret that follows every moment of weakness. Discipline is the only force strong enough to silence self-doubt, because it produces something doubt cannot argue with: evidence. When you act with discipline, despite fear, despite insecurity, despite fatigue, you create undeniable proof of your capability. Proof that stands like a monument inside your mind. Proof that rewires your identity. Proof that your feelings do not determine your destiny, your actions do. And yet, most people wait for motivation before they begin. They wait to feel ready, not realizing readiness is a myth created by their own laziness. They wait to feel confident, not knowing confidence is the result of action, not the cause. They wait for the right moment, unaware that every wasted waiting is a moment strengthening their doubt. Discipline does not ask how you feel. Discipline commands what you must do. A warrior does not check his emotions before entering battle. A king does not ask his heart for permission to make a hard decision. A builder does not wait for inspiration to lay the next stone. They act because action is what their position demands. And you, whether you realize it or not, occupy the throne of your own life. If you refuse to act, your kingdom collapses. Observe those who have achieved greatness in any field. Their secret is not superior talent. It is not divine blessing. It is not luck. It is the simple, consistent, brutal commitment to doing what must be done, whether they feel like it or not. They rise when others sleep. They continue when others quit. They move when others freeze. Their discipline becomes their armor. Their habits become their fortress. Their actions become their legacy. But look at the opposite kind of person. The one controlled by emotion. They start many things but finish few. They dream loudly but act quietly. They complain about the world but have no control over themselves. They seek shortcuts because their feelings cannot endure the long path. They blame circumstances because their feelings cannot withstand responsibility. They envy the discipline because deep inside, they know discipline would have saved them. Self-doubt is not destroyed by positive thinking. It is not destroyed by affirmations. It is not destroyed by wishing. It is destroyed by consistent, repeated, disciplined action. Doubt cannot survive in a mind that repeatedly proves itself wrong. Doubt cannot sabotage a person who shows up every day regardless of mood. Doubt cannot control a life governed by principle instead of impulse. When you act with discipline, you teach your mind a new language. You teach it that fear does not dictate your choices. You teach it that fatigue does not limit your potential. You teach it that failure is simply a step, not a sentence. You teach it that your feelings are background noise, not final commands. And the more you live this way, the more everything begins to change. Your identity, your confidence, your results, your destiny. A disciplined person becomes dangerous because they are no longer influenced by the emotional waves that control the masses. They do not collapse under pressure. They do not fold under doubt. They do not negotiate with weakness. They move with intention, clarity, and power because discipline has carved strength into their soul. You owe your life not to your emotions, but to your discipline, confidence. People speak of it as if it is a gift granted at birth, a mysterious flame that burns inside the fortunate and flickers inside the rest. They imagine confident men as chosen creatures, born with iron in their spine and certainty in their voice. They think confidence is something you either have or don't have. But that belief is a lie, a comforting lie, a lazy lie, a lie told by those who fear effort more than failure. Confidence is not natural. It is not inherited. It is not written in blood or DNA. Confidence is forged. It is earned. It is sculpted through repetition, carved through hardship, and strengthened through deliberate action. Confidence is a creation, a masterpiece built by those who refuse to kneel before fear. If you look at any powerful figure in history, you will never find a man who waited to feel confident before he acted. You will find men who acted despite trembling, men who decided to move before their mind granted permission, men who chose to walk into uncertainty with nothing but strategy in their mind and fire in their heart. They were not confident at first. They became confident through the ACT of doing. Confidence grows from action like fire grows from spark. But the modern mind misunderstands this completely. Today, people wait. They wait for the perfect moment. They wait for the right mindset. They wait for emotional alignment. as if feelings were loyal servants instead of inconsistent storms. They believe confidence will appear magically, like a sign from the heavens. They believe a moment will come when fear becomes silent and clarity becomes loud. That moment never comes on its own. Confidence does not precede action. Confidence is the consequence of action. Machiavelli wrote that fortune favors the bold, but people forget what boldness truly is. Boldness is not the absence of fear. Boldness is the refusal to obey fear. Boldness is the decision to advance when everything inside you wants to retreat. And the more you advance, the stronger you become. The stronger you become, the quieter fear becomes. The quieter fear becomes, the louder confidence grows. Confidence is not a feeling, it is a habit. Think of the first time a soldier enters battle. Think of the first time a ruler speaks before a crowd. Think of the first time a leader makes a decision that could change the fate of thousands. Do you imagine they felt confident before doing it? Do you imagine they felt calm, ready, assured? No, they stepped forward because duty demanded it, because hesitation was more dangerous than courage, because action was the only path forward. And only after stepping into the arena did confidence begin to grow. This is the part people avoid, the part that requires discomfort, uncertainty, risk. To forge confidence, you must place yourself repeatedly in situations where confidence does not exist. You must step into challenges that expose your weakness. You must confront tasks that feel beyond your ability. You must endure moments when your voice shakes, your NDS tremble, your heart races, and your mind tries to bargain you into retreat. Every time you remain standing in those moments, you forge another layer of confidence. Every time you push when the mind begs you to stop, you forge another layer. Every time you complete what you once thought impossible, you forge another layer. Confidence is not built in comfort, it is built in confrontation. But confidence alone is not enough. Confidence without thought becomes recklessness. Confidence without strategy becomes arrogance. This is why Machiavellian confidence is different from ordinary confidence. It is not explosive, emotional, chaotic. It is calculated. It is intentional. It comes from understanding your strengths and weaknesses, from studying your environment, from predicting outcomes, from preparing while others sleep. A confident man is not one who blindly believes he will succeed. A confident man is one who has positioned himself to succeed. And yet, even the most strategic mind will face moments when fear tries to regain power. It whispers doubt. It imagines catastrophe. It highlights your flaws and magnifies your imperfections. But a man who has forged confidence does not submit. He listens, but he does not obey. He feels fear, but he does not kneel before it. He understands that fear is not an enemy to be destroyed, but an animal to be tamed. A creature that becomes weaker every time you confront it. The world praises confidence but hides the process required to build it. They show you the final form, the leader on stage, the warrior in battle, the creator in command, but they do not show you the thousands of silent battles fought in the dark, battles against self-doubt, battles against hesitation, battles against every internal force trying to drag a man back into mediocrity. Confidence is built in the shadows long before it shines in the light. And is the most brutal truth. Fear does not disappear. It never truly goes away. But confident men learn to walk with fear, not behind it. They learn to hold authority over it. They learn to use it as fuel, as awareness, as sharpness. Confidence and fear are not enemies. They are rivals fighting for the throne of your mind. And whichever one you feed becomes the ruler of your actions. Confidence is forged by deliberate action, strategic thinking, and the refusal to kneel before fear. You have now seen the enemy for what it is. You have learned that self-doubt was never your identity, but a weapon placed against you. You have learned that power belongs to the one who commands his inner voice rather than obeys it. You have learned that your life bends not to your emotions, but to your discipline, the only force relentless enough to reshape your destiny. And you have learned that confidence is not a blessing granted by fate, but a fire forged by action, sharpened by strategy, and protected by your refusal to kneel before fear. Everything you want, every dream, every ambition, every transformation you imagine, begins with a single moment of defiance. A moment where you choose power over hesitation, discipline over emotion, command over chaos, action over fear. A moment where you decide you will no longer live as the creation of your doubt, but as the architect of your strength. You are not meant to move quietly through life. You are meant to rise. You are meant to confront. You are meant to dominate the very things that once controlled you. And whether you realize it or not, you now stand at the threshold where all transformation begins. The threshold where the old version of you must end so the true version can finally begin. Self-doubt dies the moment you choose to act. Confidence begins the moment you refuse to kneel. Power begins the moment you seize command of why? Our own mind. The world does not change for the hesitant, it changes for the decisive. It bends to those who walk with discipline, speak with clarity, and move with purpose. This is your turning point. This is your first step toward the life you were meant to create. And from this moment on, you will not be ruled by fear, doubt, or hesitation, because you now understand the truth. The greatest enemy you will ever face is within you, and the greatest victory you will ever claim is conquering it.